Welcome to Mr. Celadon's English class, where we'll be discussing argument paper number 5, the human conscience. Now, in this particular section, this is coming from Act 4, Scene 3, and it's lines 1 through 58. The questions you'll be answering today: how does Juliet's conscience make her feel about drinking Friar Lawrence potion? Which is number 1. Number 2, do you think the fear that Juliet feels before she drinks the potion is realistic? Number 3, in your opinion, do you think Juliet made the right decision to drink the potion? Be sure to use the below text to provide support for your claim. And last but not least, how much does your conscience influence your everyday life? Have you ever had serious doubts about doing something? You must make a direct connection to Romeo and Juliet in your response. So before we can fully get into this scene, just real quick, I want to explain. Right before this scene, Juliet is desperate because if you remember, Romeo just killed Tybalt. Tybalt now is dead. And so Romeo has fled to Friar Lawrence's cell. When he gets there, Friar Lawrence basically gives him a plan. He says, go see Juliet tonight, lay with her, essentially make her your wife officially, right, which is called to consummate the marriage. And then I'm going to send you off to this place called Mantua to keep you there. I'm going to figure out a plan. So that's exactly what happens. Romeo goes to see Juliet. He then takes off to Mantua, and he's gone. Juliet then goes to see the same Friar Lawrence. And when she goes to see him, Juliet is told by Friar Lawrence, okay, look, I have a plan. I'm going to create a potion, and this potion is going to put you to sleep for essentially 42 hours. And during this time, it's going to look like you're dead. And then he's like, so what you have to do is go back home, make sure that your mom or the nurse doesn't sleep with you tonight in your room, and drink the potion. Okay, so here we go. Scene 3, Juliet's chamber. Enter Juliet and nurse. Juliet. Aye, those attires are best, but gentle nurse, I pray thee, leave me to myself tonight, for I have need of many orations, which means prayers, to move the heavens to smile upon my state, which, well thou knowest, is crossed and full of sin. So right here she's acknowledging to the nurse that she has been wrong in marrying Romeo. So she's saying that she was wrong to marry Romeo, and that's why she's full of sin at this point. But that's obviously this thing called perception versus reality. So she wants to make the perception, what people see is that she's full of sin, but the reality is she doesn't care because she's married and she's happy. Okay, enter Lady Capulet. What? Are you busy? Oh, need you my help? So now the mom comes in. Juliet says, no, madam, we have culled such necessaries. So culled means selected such necessaries as are behooful for our state tomorrow. So please you, let me now be left alone, and let the nurse this night sit up with you, for I am sure you have your hands full, all in this sudden business. So Juliet's basically playing to her mom. She's busy, and she's like, oh yeah, tonight let the nurse help you all night long, because, I'm going to be in here in my room, and I'm going to be saying my prayers and making sure I'm ready for this marriage to Paris. Because remember, she's supposed to marry Paris. And this wedding actually got moved up because Juliet has been crying nonstop before this scene. She's crying for many reasons, but we'll talk about that later. Okay, so now Lady Capulet says, good night, get thee to bed and rest, for thou hast need. Now that scene is just a quick scene where Lady Capulet is basically going to see her daughter for the last time, and that's the discussion that they have. Now, Juliet then goes in, and what happens is she's in her bed basically, and she has this potion close to her, and she also has a dagger, and we'll talk about that. So let's begin. So now she's in a room by herself, probably for the first time in her life, And then she says, farewell, God knows when we shall meet again. I have a faint cold fear thrills through my veins that almost freezes up the heat of life. I'll call them back again to comfort me. So here she is basically knowing that what she has to do. She has to drink this potion that's going to make her look like she's dead for 42 hours. So she's so afraid that it says that the fear goes through her veins and almost freezes up her life. So she's almost like dead from fear of taking this potion. So she knows what she's doing basically is wrong. So then she goes, I'll call them back again to comfort me. Nurse! What should she do here? So the first person she calls, you notice, is nurse, not even her mother. But she doesn't say it loud enough for the nurse to hear. And she goes, what are they going to do? She has to do something for the first time in her life, which is take this potion. My dismal scene, I needs must act alone. So she's saying, dismal meaning like her desperate scene. She's like, her and this vial by herself. It has come to this, her life, Come, vial. What if this mixture do not work at all? So now she's questioning, what if this potion, this mixture doesn't even work? Shall I be married then tomorrow morning? No, this shall forbid it. Lie thou there, she says, she laying down her dagger. So she has basically two things in her hand. One, she has the potion, or the mixture. The other hand, she has a dagger. The dagger guarantee is going to kill her, she's saying. Right? But that would mean that she's losing faith in Friar Lawrence and the potion that was given to her for her to act like it looks like she's dead for 42 hours. Now, but then says, what if it be a poison which the friar subtly hath ministered to have me dead? So she's looking at this potion and saying, what if Friar Lawrence made this potion so that I will die? So she's thinking like, now she's questioning, like, what if this potion makes me die? Then it says, lest in this marriage he should be dishonored. So basically she's saying, what if Friar Lawrence is trying to cover his tracks and essentially put me, kill me off, and then no one will know anything because Romeo will be gone, he's banished, and then she'll be dead, and then Friar Lawrence will have clean hands. So she's thinking all this in her own mind. So before I move on, this is something that's extremely important to her consciousness, right? Because he married me before to Romeo, I fear it is, and yet methinks it should not. For he hath still been tried a holy man. So she's like, you know what? Why would he try and kill me? Because he's a holy man. So holy men don't kill innocent young girls like herself. How if, when I am laid in the tomb, I wake before the time that Romeo come to redeem me? So she's like, well, okay, so the plan was Romeo. So after she dies for 42 hours, Romeo will be told the plan by Friar Lawrence through a letter. So Friar Lawrence is going to write a letter, send it to Romeo to Mantua. He'll read it and then come and save Juliet out of the tomb. Okay, so this tomb is where they keep all the Capulet dead people, right? So the grandmas, the grandpas, the uncles, the aunts, because remember, it's a rich family, and they don't go and bury them out in the ground. They have a tomb to keep all their family and people who are part of their inner circle. But what if she says, what if I wake before the time that Romeo come to redeem me? There's a fearful point. So now she's like, what if I wake up and he's not even there yet? Shall I not then be stifled in the vault to those to whose foul mouth no healthsome air breathes in, and there die strangled ere my Romeo comes? So she's like, what if I wake up and I'm, overwhelmed with all this like smell of death, like strangling me, right? And then she ends up dying from just essentially being claustrophobic. She's put in this tomb, all these dead bodies are around her, right? So then she says, or if I live, is it not very like the horrible conceit of death and night, together with the terror of this place, as in a vault, an ancient receptacle, where for these many hundred years the bones of all my buried ancestors are packed? So she's basically saying she might have all this terror because of all the dead bodies around her. Where bloody Tybalt, yet but green in earth, lie festering in his shroud. So she's like, yeah, I'll be laying like close to my cousin Tybalt, who's already dead. And then I'm going to see his dead body. I'm going to be awake, and he's all in his shroud. You know, the shroud is like a little cloth that covers the dead body. Where, as they say, at some hours in the night, spirits resort. Alack, alack, it is not like that. Aye. So early waking with with loathsome smells and shrieks like mandrakes torn out of the earth, that living mortals hearing them run mad. I, if I wake, shall not be distraught, environed with all these hideous fears, and madly play with my forefathers' joints. So she's basically saying like she's going to become mad if she wakes up and she's around all these dead bodies and she hears all these sounds and all the spirits are like, roaming around. Now, these mandrakes, I always like showing this video, so I'm going to show a quick video of the mandrakes. Hopefully this works smoothly. Okay, here we go.
Morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Greenhouse 3 second years. Now gather round, everyone. Today we're going to repot mandrakes. Who here could tell me the properties of the mandrake root? Yes, Miss Granger.
Mandrake, or mandragora, is used to return those who've been petrified to their original state. It's also quite dangerous. The mandrake's cry is fatal to anyone who hears it.
Excellent. 10 points to Gryffindor. Now, as our mandrakes are still only seedlings, their cries won't kill you yet, but they could knock you out for several hours, which is why I've given each of you a pair of earmuffs for auditory protection. So can you please put them on right away? Quickly. Flaps tight down and watch me closely. You grasp your mandrake firmly. You pull it sharply out of the pot. Got it. And now you dump it down into the other pot and pour a little sprinkling of soil to keep him warm. Longbottom's been neglecting his earmuffs.
No, ma'am. He's just fainted.
Yes, well, just leave him there. Right, on we go. Plenty of pots to go around. Grasp your mandrake and pull it up.
Okay, so as you can see, the mandrake, the shrieks of the mandrake that Juliet is talking about, torn out of the earth, that living mortals hearing them run mad. So she's saying, like, what if she hears these sounds, like the mandrake sounds? I, if I wake, shall I not be distraught, so environed with all these hideous fears, and madly play with my forefathers' joints. So she's thinking that she's literally going to go mad and go and play with the joints, right? The bones and the joints of her forefathers. So their grandparents and who came before her, and plucked the mangled Tybalt from his shroud, and in this rage with some great kinsman bone, as with a club dash out my desperate brains. So she's saying she might go so crazy that she's going to take the bones of her cousins and dash meaning smash, basically open her own skull, and her brains are going to pop out. That's how crazy she's going to be. Now, oh look, methinks I see my cousin's ghost seeking out Romeo. So her cousin, right, Tybalt, that did spit his body upon a rapier's point. Stay, Tybalt, stay. Romeo, 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 I drink to thee. She falls upon the bed with the curtains. So at this point, she essentially has drank the potion. She put the knife away, and she kept her faith in Friar Lawrence's plan. What is his plan? His plan is to send Romeo to Mantua. She drinks the potion and it looks like she's dead for 42 hours. And then when they bury her, or they put her in the tomb, they do not bury her. When they put her in the tomb, Romeo then will come at night, get her out of there, take her back to Mantua. And then during that whole time, Friar Lawrence will be talking with the prince to try to get Romeo pardoned. kind of like what presidents do for different criminals or people who have caused trouble or did something illegal. They have the power to pardon them. It happens all the time, and we'll talk more about that after I press pause. But let's go ahead and finish off and look at these questions. How does Juliet's conscience make her feel about drinking Friar Lawrence potion? So obviously, is she excited to drink the potion? Yes, no, right? Next, do you think the fear that Juliet feels before she drinks the potion is realistic, right? So all that soliloquy and that long old thing, yes, this is called a soliloquy. It's because it's her by herself talking. And she's saying all those lines because she's professing what's in her mind, okay? In your opinion, do you think Juliet made the right decision to drink the potion? Did she make the right decision? Remember, so if she drinks the potion, she follows Friar Lawrence's plan and then eventually able to go with Romeo. If she doesn't follow the plan, then she uses that knife right there and possibly kills herself. Or let's say she doesn't kill herself or drink the potion. And then the next day, the same day, earlier the next day, she will then be married to Paris. And then how much does your conscience influence your everyday life? All right, I'm going to pause it now. Or stop it.